What did you accomplish after having epilepsy that you're proud of?
I don't know. Can you guys hear me? I'm kind of new here.
Oh,
I found
yeah.
you guys. I found you guys on Reddit, and then we were just.
Yeah, we just kind of talk about everything about epilepsy. What are you
All right,
taking?
cool. Well, first of all, my name is Anthony. I live in Brooklyn,
Yeah,
New York. Um, I was just diagnosed with epilepsy 4 years ago. Um, Unfortunately, I found out the hard way. I was a pretty athletic guy. I was out for a run one day, and I went into cardiac arrest. And after 9 million tests, they found out that I had temporal lobe epilepsy that was uncontrolled at the time, and which I guess apparently started in the temporal lobe and then moved over to other parts of the brain, which caused me to go into cardiac arrest. Um, so I've been battling with that ever since. They implanted an ICD in my chest, just in case it ever happens again. I've been taking Lamictal. Recently, I was raised up to about 400 milligrams, and about 2 weeks ago, I started getting constant fogginess and dizzy over the past week and a half. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it goes away. So trying to work with my epilepsy doctor to figure out, if this has something to do with the medicine, if it has something to do with the epilepsy. I got to go for another EEG on Friday.
Mhm.
But I mean, in terms of how it impacts my life, I try to live my life the best that I can.
how's your memory?
Short-term memory sucks. To be perfectly honest with
Same.
you. You know, um, Most recently, like over the past 2 weeks, when I started getting this feeling, is when it really started with the short-term memory. Even prior to that, I wasn't as sharp. I'm not as sharp as I used to be, but uh,
Yeah.
but I mean, in terms of like what my actual seizures are like, I haven't had any, tonic-clonic seizures where I've passed out or I've gone into a seize. Mine are more of like if you and I are having a discussion and I'll stop understanding what you're saying and I can't get the words out. That's sort of what my how my seizures work, right? They don't happen
Mm.
very often, thankfully. Maybe once a month, once every other month I get them. They only last for about 30, 40 seconds, but they drain the shit out of me. Afterwards, I'm tired, I'm
Yeah.
exhausted, I gotta lay down, right? So yeah, I mean that's sort of like simple chapter and verse my story, right? I'm also a single father with two children. I work for the utility company here in New York. Um, so like I said, I don't try to let it define who I am. I try to live my life to the best that I possibly can. I don't
Driving?
I drive. I do. I drive. I go out for drinks with my friends. Obviously, I watch what I do. I don't, I'm not like I used to be when in my partying days, but um, yeah. So it's interesting for me to get involved. I like, it's to talk to other people you know, who are dealing with a similar scenario. It would be cool, I think, to have these discussions.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, memory is the worst, and I feel like the doctors know it's the pills or they know what it is, and something's got to change. I think it's the
Yeah.
pills.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, I feel the same too. Like I said, I've had some discussions with my doctor. Maybe try to back off a little bit on the
Yeah.
on the Lamictal and see how that goes. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. But like unfortunately for me, it's not just I have a cardiologist, I have an electrophysiologist, I have an epilepsy doctor, I have a neurologist. So I have a whole different team that I deal with. When something happens. So I mean,
I mean,
based
can you just like, can you nix a neurologist and just, do you have an epileptologist? You said
I do, I
epilepsy?
do. They're
Okay.
both they're tied hand in hand with NYU. So
Mhm.
I've been dealing more with the epilepsy doctor than I have with the neurologist.
do they keep in contact?
Yeah, because they're both part of the same. They're
Unit.
both part of
Okay.
NYU. Yeah, they're both part of NYU. So
Okay.
My neurologist sucked, so I had to get an epileptologist.
Where are you from?
Indiana.
Indiana?
California.
You're out in Cali, huh?
Yeah.
All right. What
You
about
ever
you
had an
guys?
accident? Well, ever
I did. Well,
feel
I did. So more of the story, right? So after I got out of the hospital, and originally they did not know that it was epilepsy. They thought it was just a dangerous heart arrhythmia, and that was the reason why they put the ICD in me. About 5 months after that, while I was driving, I had an accident because I went into a seizure. Um, I just passed out. Didn't cause any sort of arrhythmias with respect to my heart, but at that point is when I really started buckling down with neurologists. I saw one with NYU. I saw one with Weill Cornell, and they finally put me on like a 48 or 72 hour EEG where they picked up the wave from the temporal lobe side, and they said, we've been going about this the wrong way the whole entire time. It has nothing to do with your heart. It has to do with your brain, because there's sections of the brain that when you do go into seizure can affect and impact the heart as well, like the arrhythmia of it, right? So, I mean, ultimately, what happened to me was I survived what we hear a lot of people don't with
Yeah.
respect to, I guess SUDEP. I'm sure you guys have heard that term before, right?
what word?
Say that again. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
That what word?
It's called SUDEP,
Oh
sudden
yeah.
unexpected death with
sudden death,
epilepsy. Yeah,
Been there.
sudden death epilepsy. Yeah.
right, right.
Anthony,
So,
does everybody get that fatigue feeling? Like sometimes it's just hard to get out of bed. Sometimes it's just really
no,
tired for no reason.
no. To be honest with you, no. I mean, my problem is sleeping in general. I can fall asleep. I can't stay asleep. Like I'll go to bed 10:30. By 1 o'clock, I'm up, tossing and turning, and by 3 o'clock, I'm back to sleep. And then I got to get up for work, usually about 5:36. So,
Fuck
um,
that.
yeah, I mean it's unfortunate. Like I said, I'm a father. I have 2 kids. I have
Yeah.
responsibilities I got to take care of.
Yeah, true.
But no, I mean, in terms of the medicine, I think the memory is the thing that's done it for me. Um, the short-term memory. I mean, that's really been the only to this point the side effect that's really been a challenge for me.
Do you know your triggers? Anybody? I don't.
Um, Mine have been if I overindulge in alcohol.
Yeah, that's what started it with mine.
Usually the next day I know it's coming, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't overindulge like I used to, right? Um, I'll make sure I'm confident about that. But that and then also I don't know. I think stress. I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
stress. I think physical and mental stress, right? I think they both do it. And it's weird because they're completely out of left field. I could be having a great day, everything's going well, and then all of a sudden, bang! I start losing.
Right.
I start losing
It'll
the
be,
ability.
I've been thought I'm doing everything right one week. Eating
Yeah,
and taking my pills,
yeah,
having fun, regular day, and there you go.
yeah. I
Like
take
we
it
miss
twice. I
you.
take twice a day actually. I take 200 milligrams in the morning, and I take 200 milligrams at night, and I take the extended release ones.
I was
Yeah,
an
I could
extended
never get
release
that
because I
extended.
take 200 twice daily, but I've heard about those extended release being better.
So originally, I was on just 200. Um, the extended release, and I didn't have an issue with them. I mean, I still had my little episodes and whatnot, and they weren't very often, but they were a little bit more intense. And then as we've gone on and raised the dosage, they're still not as they don't happen as much, but they are a little bit less. Like they only take 15 to 20 seconds, and then I'm back to where I need to be. In the past, there was more in close to a minute, that I couldn't really get my faculties about me and get back together. But yeah, so last week I was sitting in front of my computer desk at work, and then all of a sudden I got hit with like this wave where like I couldn't really comprehend what I was reading, but it wasn't like a full seizure. Like it wasn't like a full episode because I was able to speak and I was able to talk. And ever since that day, I've had just this wave of fogginess and
Yeah.
definitely much worse with the short-term memory and whatnot. And just it's not something I'm familiar with. So we're trying to wrap our arms around what exactly is going on at this point. Has anybody ever experienced that before?
Yeah. That's like gotta be one of the most fucking annoying things. It's like the yeah, it's just like you're having just vocals. It's just, and then it's just because it's sometimes it's also like you can never enjoy being just kind of like spacing out because it's like, oh, fuck, did I just have one?
Right. You know, this
Um,
is really bizarre. Like I wake up in the morning, I feel good, and then like around 10 o'clock in the morning, I start to get like very sensitive to light. Um, I feel like pressure in my sinuses, like and above my eyes. I don't know if anybody's felt that before. And then it comes and goes throughout the course of the day, and then like I feel like I'm past it, and then it happens, and then like you know, I usually go for like a walk or I work every day, I work out every day. I went for a walk before and I was just completely dizzy the entire time. And it got to a point where, you know, my heart rate spiked. I thought I was going to pass out. This just happened about like an hour, 2 hours ago. And, yeah, so like I said, I've been working with my doctors, playing, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what the next move is going to be. So Friday is going to be the EEG. I'm trying to get an MRI, but the closest MRI they have is in July. So I don't know how that's going to work.
Jesus Christ.
Right, right. So, um, yeah. So I mean, that's sort of been my challenge. It's just I was doing very very well. I mean, I'm accepting of what it is. I try not to let it define me. I try to live my life as much as normal as I possibly can. I do make sure that I take certain precautions. Like, unfortunately, I can't go on vacations with my kids alone. God forbid. They're still kind of young. They're 10 and 11.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, but I try to do things locally with them that doesn't really put me in or put them in any danger, if God forbid, of anything, right? So I mean,
Right.
in that respect, that's kind of annoying for me. But yeah, I mean, it's been a while. I haven't had an opportunity to get into a group and speak to people who are dealing with it like I am, and I think maybe this is the next step for me. It would be good to like talk to people. We can have these discussions. We could talk about what we're feeling. Maybe um,
Yeah, I feel like it's just talking to people who understand you. You're not sitting there with someone wondering what you're talking about. You guys
right.
understand exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And
Nice.
how long have you guys been diagnosed for? Have you been has this been something you were born with? Is this something you developed as time has gone on?
9 years.
9 years?
I've had epilepsy for 20 years.
Okay. And do
Um,
you
I actually had a
okay.
car accident when I was 5.
Okay.
I got ran over by a car, but I only had one then. And then I was in a coma, and I had one. And then 11 years later, I was 16, and I had one. And they thought, oh, it's just regular seizure. Next day, like later that week, I had another one. And they were like, okay, this is epilepsy. And it was because I was having it in web design class. So they thought maybe it's the computer. Photosynthesis seizures weren't my thing. But
Yeah.
once I had epilepsy, they gave me that Lantern first and then Keppra. Yeah. No
Yeah,
one likes Keppra.
they started me with Keppra. That was the first one they gave me. And at the time I was married and I had zero sex drive. I was getting very annoyed very easily, and then I started to hear about the Keppra rage that they talked about. Um,
Yeah.
so then they had decided that the next best medicine, even though the Keppra was working, right, but the side effects were something I didn't want to deal with any longer. They had talked about Lamictal, so I titrated up on that to about 200 milligrams, and I used that for a couple of years, and then I started to get a little bit more frequent with the seizures. So from that point on, we kind of just slowly raised it. Like I said, I'm up to 400 now, which I started in February and was, I really didn't feel any bad side effects. So I'm curious if to the length of it now at that milligram is what's causing these issues for me, and maybe I need to back off a little bit. So it's playing the medicine game, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys have been through this as well, right?
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
what's the right milligram? What can you live with without it really, fucking up your quality of life, right? What works? So, I'm with you. I get it.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Like at first it used to kind of mess with my mental health, but then after a while it was just like this is gonna keep happening. Just gotta find the medication and find the right crowd who's gonna support me when things happen like that. When I'm
Right.
out and about.
Right.
Yeah, eventually I just had to get over it. Like, this is gonna happen. Take these pills and try to make it not happen as much as possible.
No, I'm with you. Like, I don't. I mean, I do see a therapist. More because I guess of PTSD from what happened to me, right? And also going through a divorce and stuff like that doesn't help as well either, right?
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, no, I understand. Like, like I said, I don't want it to define me. I try to live my life the best as I possibly can. I have a good support system of friends. They understand. I do wear I don't have it on now, but I wear a medical ID bracelet in case, right? There you
Yeah.
go. Oh boy. I think I got the
I
same
need
one as you,
one.
actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
I need to get one.
It's worth it. It's worth it to get it. You guys single? You guys, anybody, are you dating? You, anything?
I get a
Uh,
what?
dating's pretty easy, I guess. Well, I mean, when I try,
Yeah. It's not, I don't find it to be that difficult either. I find people to be actually accepting of it. Like, it's not even like not even an issue for them, to be honest with you, for women. So,
would you
um,
date someone with epilepsy?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt that too. Like that person would be 100% understanding.
Right.
Like there'd be
And nothing
nothing
would
we
get
disagreed on.
nothing would be remembered. Everything
Nothing
would
would
be
be
forgotten.
remembered.
You have to bring a third person just as like a, to fucking remember you guys to do shit. It's like, hey, you gotta do this. Like, oh yeah, shit, my bad.
Yeah, I'd be like, today is your day to write stuff down.
Yeah.
Someone to take notes. You need
I'm just gonna allow things to happen. You take notes today. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I definitely take a lot of notes these days for sure.
Yeah.
What's the biggest
what
misconception you've got lately?
biggest misconception? I
Biggest
don't know.
misconception I got is shaking seizures are only seizures. People think if you aren't shaking, it's not a seizure.
Yes, people
Not
are.
as bad if you're not shaking.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things
They're still there.
well, it's interesting because people I meet, like, whether it's dating or, just friends, friend out, whatever, when you tell someone, like, they'll see my bracelet and they go, oh, what's that? And I'll explain to them I'm an epileptic. Automatically they assume that you go into, like, convulsions and whatnot, like what people, and I have to express to them, no, that's not the type of epilepsy that I have. It's a little bit different. And it's interesting. They like, oh, I never heard of anything like that before. I'm like, neither did I. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, same thing. I mean, look, I'm 44, so I'm 40 years. I've without epilepsy, and then all of a sudden it sort of just hit. I mean, I was an athlete growing up. I did play college sports and whatnot. I was hit in the head many, many times, I'm sure. So I don't know if maybe it just caught up to me at this point, but I actually found out the hard way, basically within inches of dying that I was epileptic, right? So
Jesus.
That'd be tough.
Happy you're
You
here.
still do sports and everything?
yeah, I'm still active. I still live my life the way like if it never happened. Obviously, there's certain precautions and
Good.
things I need to do, but I try to, I like I said, I don't want to let it control me. I want to be able to live my life as best as I possibly can.
Yeah, I try not to let it control me. I try to sometimes do things I know that some people aren't supposed to do with epilepsy, just so I can be like, I did this, makes me feel good. I did it,
Yeah.
nothing happened. Um, yeah, like yesterday, I got on the bus. It was kind of just cool, just being out. It's alone. On the way back, I had a focal. I missed my stop. I found it kind of funny, but it was just me. It was like, yeah, it's only one stop.
Right.
It's just a
Yeah.
focal, just a few minutes away.
It's okay.
instead of a 10-minute walk, it was a 16-minute walk. I was like, yeah, find it cool. I mean, not cool, but calming, and it feels good just doing stuff that
On your
I
own.
know that I'm not supposed to be doing, but I did it because it feels good, and I knew hopefully I can make it home. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think people realize like the simple things that we like. I guess the things that they take for granted on a day to day basis that are a little bit more challenging for us that
Yeah.
we take some
Yeah.
pride in, like doing right. Certainly, like me, like I drive, right? I have not had another seizure where I've passed out, or I've gone into convulsions since 2022 when they first started putting me on medicine. I mean, is it always in the back of my mind that it could potentially happen? Well, of course, but you know, again, like I'm not gonna just sit around my house all day long and do nothing, and I'm not gonna like I'm gonna live my life, and what's gonna happen is what's gonna happen.
I sit
I was
around
stuck in
doing
that
nothing
phase for
for
a
8
while.
hours.
I was stuck in that phase for a long time. Just stay away from people, just stay in the house.
Yeah.
And I was comfortable, but I figured it's time. You got to start doing something. You got to get out. There was a lot of
Yeah,
people a lot of people told me, something you got to do. You shouldn't do a podcast. You need to find something you can do that'll help you make money. And I was like, it's not a lot I can do. And then when you get a job, it's like you need someone to take you there because you're not supposed to be anywhere alone. Yeah, so always having to ask somebody for a ride wasn't an option. After a while, I was just like, I'm cool.
Yeah.
People who kept telling me don't do a podcast, I was like, hey, people don't have a problem sitting around and talking with each other. People who understand you. So I mean,
no, there's nothing wrong with it at all. I think it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
perfect time in doing this.
Yeah, I think this is wonderful. I'll be honest with you. Like I think this is great. You know. And I'm sure, like, we all have personalities. We'll get to know each other. We'll fuck around with each other a little bit, right? I mean, that's just what life is about, right? That's what we do, right? We'll
Yeah.
talk about what our experiences are, what we're going through, how we're feeling, and whatnot, and then get to know each other as friends and stuff like that. I'm all about it.
Yeah, my aunt was telling me, she was like, I'm a psychologist. And she was like, I think you can get some type of government funds for helping people and being like a therapist. And I was like, yeah, that's interesting. I'm
You
looking
could,
for some sponsors, I guess.
you could. I mean, I think you helping others is helping
Everything's
people.
yeah.
Well, helping people with your experiences, right? Giving people a playbook off of your own experiences, right, is a great thing, right? It's
Yeah,
people are dying for that.
I was thinking it'd be cool to like just if I did have somebody sponsor me, just go see people, like go visit you guys and do it there, do the interview there with people watching, two
Right.
people on one Zoom, and get out. Got to find
Keep
somebody who wants to do that with me.
keep
Can't just go out
advertising
and
it.
do that alone.
Keep
Yeah.
advertising it. If you go to see if I go to see my epilepsy doctor, and like nowadays everything is done like via like remote, like we're doing right now. But I mean, if we go to the office to see our epilepsy doctors, talk to people who are there and say, hey, look, this is something we're doing. If you're interested, let's talk about your experiences. How you feeling? What are you going through? And it's a space that for everybody, we could all learn something from each other, which is
Yeah,
great.
There's a
yeah.
lot of
It's
good
like before.
support groups too. If you check out,
Yeah.
you know, around uh, a lot of good regional support groups.
Right,
You can check out where
right.
Yeah,
if
this
you're
is actually like really like kind of I'm liking this a lot now. It's just to have people who know what's up with it,
By the way, I think
talk
Mike
to them.
Oxlong is fantastic. By the way,
Thanks.
my
I'm
friend used to.
related to Mike Clitoris.
I did a Mike Ockazich. He was a good one too. I saw once. That was a pretty good one.
But yeah, I'm reading something that says, "Have you ever faked a get out of a seizure?" And somebody said, "I have," but everything my mom asked is a reason to fake a seizure. Wow, I never faked a seizure.
I don't think there's certain things that you don't.
It's just not fun.
No, no, no. It's
I,
not.
I think
I've like joked about doing that sometimes, but then I'm like, I don't want to fuck with fate because I feel like that's just if I make a joke like that and then it's gonna happen, I'm like, God fucking damn it.
It's like I'm a big sports fan, so my friends these are people that I've grown up with. They obviously know my condition and whatnot. So like we have group texts. So if I'm watching a game or something, someone will say, I bet Espo's having a fucking seizure watching this, right? So I mean, that's just it's like I don't take that personally. I think it's funny, right? Like it's just you got to kind of just have a little bit of levity with it. You know what I mean? So
Do you
I
find
think
it
I
offensive
mentioned.
when someone calls you an epileptic?
no, I don't think I've ever had anybody call me an epileptic. To be honest with you, I call myself an epileptic.
Yeah.
When I introduce myself, I meet people. Like I said, I wear the same bracelet. So a lot of times people are like, oh, it's a nice bracelet. What is that? And it's a medical ID bracelet. I'm an epileptic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
some
I don't
people,
think it's not offensive. It's
no, I don't think it's offensive. I think it's it's
someone
legitimate.
it's if someone is using it like a derogatory sense, that's like different. But no, it's like I don't care. Yeah, I have epilepsy. You can say I'm epileptic. This is fact.
So,
Yeah.
does anybody have photosensitive seizures?
No.
I've never had. I just said with the lamictal, I do have like the side effect of like some more so now since I've raised the dosage is the light sensitivity. I do get.
You ever seen yourself on camera having a seizure?
No,
I seen
no.
I don't
two.
think I
I
don't
have a
think that's
camera in my
someone I want to
bedroom.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen two in my bedroom. I got the camera for that reason. Well, not to record it, but my mom to look every now and then, see what I'm doing.
I did meet a woman a couple of years ago. It was very inspiring actually. She was an epileptic, very pretty girl too. She worked for the fire department of New York, but obviously she wasn't a fire person. She worked in an office and whatnot, and she had very very poorly controlled epilepsy with seizures and whatnot. And she had a dog that would stay with her 24 hours a day, and she was just a very very inspiring story. She lived by herself. Her dog was able to sense when a seizure was coming on and knew how to get the medicine to her or knew how to put her in a safe place or going to a place where she could fall on. Like it was just an unbelievable experience and discussion that I had with her. And when I think about it in hindsight of like what I have in terms of epilepsy and what she has to deal with, like this is a piece of cake compared to what she has to deal with, right? And if she's able to go ahead and have a career and to try to live a normal life, like that's inspiring. Like for me, there's no excuse for me not to do the same. That's sort of what I felt when I met her, right? So interesting. That's the only person I think I've met um, that I've actually had some significant discussions with respect to having epilepsy. You guys gonna be on for a
Yeah.
few minutes? I have to jump off for like 5-10 minutes. You're gonna be on?
Yeah, I'll
I'll be
be
back.
I'll be
All right,
on.
cool. I'll be back. Very good.
Do you guys get disability?
No. I am thinking of signing up for Medicaid just because it's like especially with like just like fear of like med increases and like pricing. So trying to
You think pill prices are going to go up with these
Uh,
tariffs?
I don't know. Because like insurance companies jack up prices like really easily. So I'm kind of like
I've actually been on Medicaid for a while, so because I, yeah, I was on private insurance when I was 18, I think,
mhm.
and yeah, and that was some ridiculous stuff right there. But yeah, I've been on Medicaid for a while, so
What's the worst advice you got from someone who doesn't have epilepsy, who isn't a doctor? I think I heard someone say it's my diet. You eat this kind of stuff and you eat this kind of stuff, and talk to the doctor.
Jesus.
He told me it's definitely not keto.
Yeah. I'm a regular practitioner say like, I mean, I've heard some people have success with keto. You could try that if that's like anything. But I think it was more like he wasn't like saying this is a for sure thing. He was just saying like some people have had success with it.
You guys heard of like the B12 supplements for memory?
No.
Yeah, I had a friend tell me about those. He said they kind of help with memory. I never imagined there being such a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's upsides and a lot of downsides to keto, but I've mostly had to figure out my diet on as I go along. That's been. I'm always interested in hearing out of people's diet because that's been a
Not good.
really, yeah, that's been a really interesting thing as I go along. Yeah, that,
I had a
that's
lot of
helped me
shit
out.
food.
Yeah.
Even though
Like
you haven't
ramen.
had seizures in a while, do you kind of get auras?
I wouldn't say auras because I just mostly get really intensely dizzy recently.
I get the
That's
dizzy.
been that's been the most uh I just yeah my triggers um like like I've said when I get into intensely crowded rooms and heat and stuff like that I gotta space out I gotta get out of crowded rooms.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm really overstimulated. I'm gonna go into the other room and just be away from people for a little bit.
I get you there.
I had
The
like
person that
heat stroke,
asks,
I think, last summer.
say that again.
I had like I think I was about to have like heat stroke, I think, last summer, so I kind of forced myself to go inside and away from a party because I'm like, I can't fucking, this is too much. I can't be, it's way too hot. There's too many people. I need to go lay down.
But stress, he mentioned I forget his name, but he did mention stress and yeah, when I was in college, I had to drop out for a semester and I, I was living pretty dangerously for a while, but I did, and I wouldn't advise this to anyone, but getting away from stress is such an important thing. And I took my medicine and I moved away for a while. I was living in such a stressful environment, and I moved down to Miami for the summer, and there was no seizures for the summer, and it was incredible. I just lived on the beach and there
God,
was
fuck,
no
that
seizures.
sounds so nice.
Yeah, I just ate what I want, and I didn't drink anything, but it was just no stress, and I didn't deal with school or anything. It was incredible, and there was no myoclonics or anything, and it was incredible um, dealing with no stress. It was a stressless environment, and I can attest to that. Just getting rid of my family. I love my family, but just I can really say that getting rid of stress is so good for seizures. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if it's just like my situation, but I've come to find out that just kind of stress just kind of comes with the situation. I feel like it's just kind of normal now. Just like I know when it's gonna come time to time. Um, avoid it.
Do you guys feel like you get stressed out more like
Easily.
I feel like I just get stressed more easily.
Yeah, I think I do get stressed a little more easily. And I had a family member who told me she knows when I'm gonna have a seizure. She said I get really passive aggressive. She can tell I'm angry, but I never say it. I'm just kind of beating around the bush at it. Um, yeah.
Like you were talking about a few minutes ago, people were like, "Oh, we sit around and do nothing all day." I did nothing on Saturday. I did absolutely fucking nothing. I played Oblivion for 8 hours. I didn't do a fucking thing. I was like, I'm not doing anything productive today. I'm playing video games. I still do that.
Yeah, I get my signs. I mean, my times are just doing nothing and being very comfortable with doing nothing. And
Yeah. I still
yeah,
like go out to do shit, but like, yeah, I'll like go out to the mall sometimes to do like nothing, but no, I like video games a lot.
yeah, me too. Do you with epilepsy, do you actually wait for people to be home to take a shower?
No, not really. Um, I did have a fall in the shower once, but this is when I like first started having them like unprovoked. I had them after like nights out of drinking, and then like after like fourth one, I just stopped altogether because I'm like, oh fuck this, I'm not doing it again. And then I stopped for over a year, and then they just started happening unprovoked. And when I was still figuring out my like dosage of meds, I remember being in the shower, and then I remember being on the ground, and then I remember being upstairs and like really sore. There was like no one. There was like no one there. Like, oh, okay. I guess I had a seizure, fell in it. I went to go take a shower, had a seizure, fell, then walked back upstairs. Just
Is there anyone that you
dong hanging
know that
out.
is absolutely going to call the ambulance every time?
Huh?
So is there anyone that you know who's absolutely going to call the ambulance every time?
No, no. Um, they all know. Like, it's like I think that they all know what to do. Um,
Really good support
they
system is the best.
what
Support
was
system going through this is what everyone needs.
yeah my so um I was in the group as you like might have read, like I had the car crash, and thank fuck I like my family is like just really good. um yeah, I was in the hospital for like a month. I was in a wheelchair for like almost till like winter. um Part of my colon got nicked during the crash, and I had an ostomy bag for like 10 months, and then they finally reversed it. But yeah, without my family, like uh my mom and sisters and my wife, like yeah, my wife and I would have been fucked if we were in a city by ourselves.
Someone, I seen someone posted something and said that they ruin holidays. They've been told that they ruin holidays, and I was like, wow. And she said, my brother claims that I ruined his day regardless of the seizure. And then someone said, I've heard that so many times, I can't even think of a specific time to tell you.
Jesus Christ, what the fuck is with these people? Why? What the fuck is wrong with people?
You ever been told that you ruined someone's day?
No, I am now extremely thankful for my family. Jesus Christ, who the fuck does that? Hell.
Yeah, thankfully I've had a good family too. You know, I would have died if not for my mother. You know, I'd be dead. You know, I could say that, but the, she's been fantastic. Um, my friends have not been good, but they pretty much ditched me completely. But I'm lucky to say I got a good family.
Yeah.
That's it.
Support system is the best.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. You guys ever had a seizure on public transit or a plane?
Yeah.
No. I was about to have one, I think, on a plane. This was before they started happening unprovoked, but I'm like, holy fuck. Because it was like a really rough landing. I'm like, dude, I'm about to fucking have one. I do not feel comfortable at all.
You ever had like
own spirit.
Anthony?
I'm back.
We were talking about seizures on a plane or public transit.
So it's interesting. I fly. I've gone away. I've never had a seizure, luckily, on the plane. But most recently, I went to Nashville in January for a 40th birthday party, and I found myself, I guess, in panic mode, like out of nowhere, just thinking about having one while I was on the plane, and that sort of put a bad seed in the back of my mind now to actually fly again. So, public transportation, no, because I drive mostly. Do I worry about maybe sometimes having one when I drive? Possibly, but cars nowadays, like, they have the automatic braking system. So, God forbid something was to happen, um, the car will kind of brake on its own. So, I know from a safety perspective, that's sort of what I think of. But even just a level of uncomfort, because some of my seizures as well too. I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys. Sometimes I'll go into like tachycardia. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, where your heart just starts racing
It's
out
like,
of nowhere.
yeah.
Has anybody ever experienced that, where they just like you'll be just relaxing and all of a sudden your heart will just start racing out of nowhere?
Yeah.
When I used to drink a lot of coffee, yeah, I
Yeah,
had an incident with that. Yeah.
I had
yeah,
that when I was also working at like a hospital because for a while I did my undergrad in psych and then I was like, okay, I don't want to go to grad school. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll do nursing. And then I tried working in the hospital as a PCA for a few years and I kind of I realized I would get like really fast heart rates and then when I stopped it was like normal. I'm like,
right.
okay, I think we're done.
Yeah, no, I've had times where I'll just be laying in bed and just out of nowhere my heart will just start spiking, uh, for no apparent reason. It'll just start racing, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling, obviously. And like my heart rate will get into like the 130s, 140s when it's happening. Now, one of the interesting things is like I said, I'll explain to you guys. I have an ICD installed. I have a it's like an internal cardiac defibrillator. So it senses dangerous heart rhythms, and if I get to a certain point where it does that, it'll send a pulse through to try to correct the heart rate. If it
Yeah.
doesn't do that, then it actually shocks you internally, right? So again, that's another comfortable failsafe to have. Obviously, I don't want to have to get to that point. It's never gotten to that point, thankfully. As a matter of fact, I went today to go see my doctor. Every 6 months, they pull the data off of the machine, and then they evaluate it. And so, I mean, the last 6 months have been good. even with some of those episodes. So I'm not going into a dangerous arrhythmia, but still, it's just an uncomfortable feeling, obviously, right? Because and that to me is more worrisome than losing my faculties for 30 seconds to 40 seconds, right? That I can get up and excuse myself if I'm out if I have to, or people that I'm close with. I put together like a signal with them that if we're having a discussion, I'll just tap my bracelet. This way they sort of know that I'm having like an episode and that I can't really like respond and I'm sort of like I'm there, but I'm not there. Um, yeah, so those are the two sort of afflictions that I get with respect to my epilepsy. It's like I said, the ability to not be able to communicate, and then the sometimes the fast heart rates.
Yeah.
Someone said their pills are making them not be able to have an erection. I've never gotten that, not from the pills. Well, I've never
Right.
gotten it, so
I mean, I've had like low sex drive. That's
Right.
yeah,
kind of
I
why
have
I've been
that.
wanting to
I get
lower.
that, the no sex drive, but
Um,
he's just like, I have a weak erection. Any help? I don't have any help with that.
Well, I mean, so for me, I I think I created a bad cycle. Like I started taking like Cialis. Like when I know I'm with someone that probably gonna have gonna have sex and whatnot, I'll uh I'll pop a Cialis a couple of hours in advance, and definitely no issue with an erection. But I mean, even there are times where like I'm by myself, like I get up in the morning, I'll have a full erection. So I know like physically I can. I think it's more of a mental thing for me now than there's anything else.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. Um,
And what are the selling points from Lamictal from when I first started was the fact that it says the doctor was like this could actually enhance your sex drive. I can't see that's happened, but um,
it happens.
yeah,
No,
I
I'd
have
say
read.
it's definitely a mental thing because when I started taking all these drugs at age 12, mixed that with puberty, and I've been on all these drugs since then, and it's yeah, it's a cocktail of
Yeah,
weird shit
yeah,
you're
no,
doing since then. You like these girls, at the same time you're taking these fucked up drugs, and it's not the equipment. It's mental,
it's
Right.
they're directly tied together, Kevin.
right?
This is how it goes, right? And that's the same
Yeah,
thing. Like I said, like I'll wake up in the morning, full erection. So I know physically my body's working. It's more of a mental thing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like I explained to you guys too. Like I'm divorced, and I'm divorced. About 3 years now. It was about a year after I had was diagnosed. Uh, my ex-wife decided she didn't want to be married anymore, right? So then now, I'm back into the dating pool, and you meet someone, and obviously things are going well, and you want to take things to the next step. There's always that worry of like not being able to perform, and then all of a sudden, like they don't want to be with you. So that's the discussion that I had with my doctor at the time, and that's why they gave me a prescription for Cialis. Um, and there have been women that I've dated for several months where I started this way with using the drug for it, and once I guess that level of comfort hits, like I was able to perform without having to take it. So it certainly definitely is a mental thing, 100%.
Yeah. I had a female I was talking to. She would always give me pineapple juice, and then I knew that's what she was getting at.
That's a good that's a good pick. That's a good one.
She'd have like the little
Team
cans of
swallow.
pineapple juice, and it'd be like 6 of them. And I'd be like, "Oh, she's picking me up to go spend the night. I see what she's getting at."
Yeah.
she's team swallow, huh?
Say that again.
She's team swallow.
Yeah. 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 That's probably why she wanted the pineapple juice.
Right.
My wife's not home, so she seems spit. She can't. Don't like it.
So,
What-
do all you guys work? You guys have professions or no?
Nope.
I'm working right now.
Kind of. Yeah, no more working for me. I hurt myself too much. I fell in the fryer. I got that. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Fuck.
Yeah. Fell in the fryer, and then there's one after that where I had stitches like on the inside of my lip. So I think if I would have hit it any harder, it might have a hole through. But I just had stitches on the inside. And do you know how hard it is for them to hold your lip open while they're doing that?
I can only
Somebody
imagine.
holds in the lip and they're numbing it. So I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah. What's your worst injury?
Well, mine was going into cardiac arrest.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's probably
Probably the worst.
I got
probably
a
the
lot.
worst. Yeah.
I got a broke my neck, foot, fire. I house burned down, and I had a seizure during it. All this house burned down, and
Holy shit.
it was just
That's
a
the fucking
coincidence.
worst.
I was having 4 seizures, 4 grand mal a week, and it was the hottest week of the year. It was 100 degrees, electrical fire. I had a grand mal at the same time. And just shit's luck, and I was passed out at the time.
Where are you from, Mike? No, Kevin. I'm sorry. Where are you from, Kevin?
Philadelphia,
You're from Philly.
right,
Okay.
right down the street from you. Yeah.
Yeah, not far. About
Eagles.
2 hours. Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it was just shit's luck, and I had other family members home, but uh, luckily, that was a real mind fuck. But I woke up to insurance people and firemen, and yeah, that was weird. But I also fell downstairs, iron stairs, and I had to wear a neck brace for 6 months, and also broke my
I had
foot. Yeah,
a neck brace for a while
yeah.
after the car crash.
I wore a neck brace on the way to the hospital, but not afterwards.
Oh, it's
My worst injury, I guess I've hurt myself a few times. I chipped my tooth. But I think the worst was actually when the ambulance had to come get me. It wasn't really a big injury, but I couldn't breathe and I was turning purple. And since we didn't have a helipad in our city, we had to meet them at the school on the football field. And yeah. And they were like, the ambulance told me, he was like, a hospital bill for this, he's like, it's at least $100,000 just to take off. Yeah.
That's that's like the fucking worst of it. That's so did you have insurance at the time, or
Did I have what?
did you have insurance at the time?
Yes, fortunately.
Good.
Yes.
Mike, do you work?
I do. I work at the dental office scheduling patients. So
Okay. You're married?
yep.
I saw the wedding ring on you. Okay.
Yeah, 6 months now.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You met a good woman. She's accepted you for who you are, and
Yeah, I don't know where I'd be without her.
Yeah, that's the thing that fucked me too. Was that we went through a whole lot with my medical stuff. But the truth of the matter is that I didn't let it stop me from being a husband and a father. Right, I did what I had to do. And after all we went through, it wasn't like she had to take care of me. Where I would say it was too much for her. Just decided one day she didn't want to be married anymore, and that really set me back.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I have good family and friends. I have a good support system. We co-parent well, so I get to see my kids quite often, which is great. And they're proud of me. Like they did something at the school. I forgot. I don't know what month it is, but they wore purple. I guess for certain. I guess it was an epilepsy day or something like that. Um, so yeah, they went to school in purple, and all the kids were asking them, "Why are you wearing purple today?" And they explained, "Oh, my dad's." So it's not something that they're ashamed of. They're proud of it, which is cool. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad my kids aren't ashamed of mine. Um, yeah, just having it. Sometimes you do feel like being a burden,
Right.
holding
Right.
them back. I can't do this, I can't do that with you because we don't have someone to go with us or stuff like that. Sometimes that gets to me just not being able to do stuff with them because of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The limits that you have to be able to do things. Right. So But yeah, I mean, look, I always express to them when we do something. With Daddy, he's got, here's my bracelet. If anything, I tap. They're like, yeah, Dad, we know. We talk about this all the time. Like they're very, it's, I have two daughters, so obviously there's a sense of, protection that I have, but,
Yeah.
um, but they're good. They're good kids. They understand. They know what to do, and I knock wood. I hope they never have to do anything.
Yeah. My
But yeah, so
oh,
with my kids, when they are around, the ones that are under 13, what I do is I write my information on a piece of paper and I call 911, tell them I'm 100 and this pounds, I'm this tall, I had a seizure. I told them, tell them if I wet myself or not. Yeah, and I wrote the address down. Haven't had to use it yet, luckily. But yeah, I have six, and my oldest daughters are about to be 16 this weekend, and one's 15, and then my son is 14. Then I have three under 13. So yeah, those are the ones I write down the information for so they understand. And yeah. Um, but my son was younger, he didn't quite understand it. So he did kind of make fun of me a bit. And I kind of took it as funny. Then I kind of made him understand that this is just what's going to happen for the rest of my life. So,
Right.
yeah.
yeah. I think it doesn't click for some. It takes a while for it to click with him. I think my nieces know. I don't know how much they know. They know I had the car crash and that it was like she made like a funny joke. It's like, if you can survive a tree, you can survive anything. But yeah. I don't know how. I know my nieces, the twins, they're like about to be 13, and they were like 10 when they were able to understand a lot easier. The other ones, I don't think they know really.
Have you and your wife discussed having children?
Yeah, we definitely want to. Things right now though, it's kind of um we have to just get a lot of shit with like finances sorted first. So
Yeah,
we're
no, I understood.
okay.
No, I get it. Yeah, you guys are newlyweds too.
Yeah.
6 months. I mean,
We were like, okay, we should start now because I'm 32 and she's like 29. But yeah, it's like shit. I think we gotta wait.
right.
We gotta get like finances sorted. We gotta get this house squared away. We've got like debt and credit cards and shit. We gotta get a comfortable spot.
Right.
I want to try and get a better position.
Right.
I've just done fuck all to do it, to actually do something about it. That's on me, but
Right.
yeah,
This
is hard. It was hard. It's hard to find work that's like pays well.
Right. Well,
Even though you don't have to mention it on a job application, do you guys still mention it?
Um,
I do.
first,
I did.
yeah.
I'm gonna stop now. I'm not gonna do it anymore.
Okay,
All right. All right. I'll talk to you later.
but
Oh,
Kevin,
oh wait, no, I said I'm not gonna mention the
Oh.
on the application anymore.
right.
Oh. Okay.
okay.
Yeah. It's
Um,
not. It's not.
But
Um.
I probably was gonna leave in like 10 minutes, but but
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I was working with the same company for the longest time, and a lot of the people knew what had happened to me,
yeah,
and so they're very accommodating to me. If I mean, like I work more on like the engineering side of the utility company, so like my work is really like more office related. I mean, there are some instances where I have to go into certain electrical places and whatnot, but the corporate policy is 3 days a week in the office. They're pretty lenient with me with that. They don't really enforce it that much with me. It's all documented in reference, with HR and whatnot, in case they wanted to start, auditing people's time and whatnot. But I've been there for 21 years at this point, and you know, they're pretty flexible with me, which is good.
it's good. My employers are really good with it. Um, I literally had to crash like fucking 3 months after I started,
Yeah,
and they were like, "Yeah, we can keep you on for like, um, still keep you on as an employee, and so you have like the insurance
right.
and whatever you come back." And they just asked like to pay the what's it called what's taken out per for like an employee per pay cycle, and I'm just like,
Right.
yeah, fuck it, I'll sign. I got $1,300 right here. Go for it.
Right.
I'm
Right.
if you were applying for a new job, would you fear any sort of discrimination or
yeah,
anything?
yeah, 100%.
Hmm.
Um,
I think it depends what you apply for, right? I think like I don't know what your specialties are, what you guys are looking to do and whatnot, but a lot of jobs nowadays are remote, or at least partially remote anyway, right? Where I don't think it makes a difference at that point, what you're if you have an affliction at all, So
yeah,
um, I guess it all depends again, like what you're gonna do for a living or what you're looking to do
Well,
for
I
a
got
living.
sort of a trade.
yeah.
Um, I got sort of an IT trade I'm
Okay.
going into,
that's good.
but I'm still, it's still a competitive trade. So, eh, like, I'm still nervous that I feel like everything can set you back, you know?
I can understand why you would feel that way, Kevin. I get it. I mean, maybe given the trade that you're in, you don't have to. I mean, if you're gonna be, if you're gonna have like a remote position, right?
Yeah.
You
Okay.
Yeah,
know, you
They can
I,
be
you know,
accommodating. Yeah.
yeah, that may be something where, in the beginning, you do what you have to do. If you make some good relationships and you feel like it's necessary to like express to people that, then maybe that could at that point, because then if they decide to get rid of you for that reason, now you have a case, right? So,
Right.
It's more of a matter of what you put on the application. That's what I'm
right.
saying. Um, like I'm just nervous. They find ways to uh not hire you because of that. That's what
yeah.
I'm nervous about.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot like I think you might have said it earlier. Positions will be like, "Oh, do you have a license or something?" I'm like, why the
Yes.
fuck does it
Yeah.
matter
That's
if I have a means to get there? And it's like
Right.
yeah.
I
Mhm.
feel like can just be um
Yeah.
manipulated into a way of like, oh, you have epilepsy. Yeah, this is a job that requires to be have a license, so we can't hire you. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that's like, it's a lot of places that's not their intention, but that can be very easily manipulated into,
Right.
oh yeah, it's just a part of the job. Which, yeah.
Okay, so I'm reading something that says, does anyone else struggle with the loss of words? The more seizures I've had, the more difficult it is to find anything but the simplest way to state my intention. This is probably tied to loss of memory, and I know many can relate to that, but has anyone else experienced this frustrating mess? This happens mostly every day. I can't think of words during an in-person conversation or when texting, journaling, or writing. I look up synonyms and ways to rephrase sentences constantly. Also, forget things like movies, shows, books, music, etc. But I've learned to live with that and laugh it off. I know it's tied directly to memory loss. I get that
Yeah,
too.
I've definitely had it where I'm still able to like convey my point across, but I work in a scheduling office, so I talk to people like all day.
Right.
I definitely can get tripped up on my words pretty easily.
Yeah, that happens to me
Not
as
that
well.
it's
Same.
not that I don't know what to say or that I can articulate it. It just takes me. It can
Yeah.
take me a while because I'll be like, and this kind of thing, and then it's like, oh, okay, this is what you're supposed to say.
But
Yeah, exactly.
I get real tongue tied reading. Like I can read perfectly fast in my head and read a book or a page or something. But out loud, it just keeps getting boggled. Like I took this one test one time, a GED test, and it was horrible. They were like, you got 45 minutes to answer, I think like 20 something questions. I answered 4 because I had to keep rereading the page because I forgot. Every time I'd read the question, I'm like, okay, let me read this and find out where this part is because I had to keep reading it over and forgot what I read and all that. So I was like, I'll do this when I have time, maybe, or like maybe take notes fast enough or something like that. But test taking became a problem.
I forget names a lot. Forget the names of
Oh yeah.
things. You know. That's so. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know if that's as a result of the epilepsy or as a result of the medicine. It's hard to say. You know.
Say that again.
I have a difficult time remembering names and things like that.
Me too.
I'm just curious as to
Same.
whether it's a direct result of the epilepsy or if it's the medicine, right? So, um, it's more so nowadays since I've raised my dosage, which I'm just going to go ahead and assume that maybe it is just too much medicine. Maybe I need to tone it back a few milligrams and see how that works. But this challenge that I've had over the last couple of weeks with respect to like this fogginess and this dizziness and this pressure I have in my sinuses and above my head and you know not really being able to exercise because of the dizziness that I'm having. Trying to exercise today and almost putting myself into a fucking arrhythmia. So yeah, I mean, I'm sort of in the middle of a pretty difficult time right now with respect to I don't know what the next move is going to be, right, and I don't know what the next step is going to be. So I'm just going to wait till my test on Friday to the EEG, wear it for the 48 hours and see what kind of information comes back from it.
Hopefully they get like good results.
I'm hoping they find something. Hoping they say, "Oh,
Yeah.
hey, look, we could see X, Y, and Z. We know exactly what to do about this." You know what I mean? The worst possible thing for me would be like, "Oh, it's clear." And I'm like, "All right, well, what the fuck are we? What's the next?" Especially not being able to get an MRI till July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
You know,
was
I'm
a
not. Yeah.
Hartford Cleveland clinic because I was there for like a week and they were only able to trigger one seizure, but I talked to my doctor and she was like, they weren't able to narrow it down as to what area it was.
Right.
And I asked, like, it's fucked up. But just with like the United CEO, I kind of was like, hey, I know they were like you, because apparently United was using like AI to just deny claims,
Right.
and they were having like doctors that were not like neurologists or epileptologists sign off on it, or if they were like neurosurgeons to like approve or deny claims. And I was like, did that have anything to do with it? She was like, no, we were able to find like enough data to determine, like, unfortunately it's just they couldn't. It was like, should they had enough data to go off of
Right.
making a decision, but it's just they weren't able to like, with the information they found, they weren't able to they weren't able to narrow it down, but they had enough information that if it was something that it could be narrowed down to, that would be it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No. It does. What about ears ring? Any guys ears ring at all?
So that, yeah, I get that ears ringing thing time to time.
Yeah.
I've been getting
right
that
now.
a lot lately, not
My
related
left
to
ear right
ears.
now.
Right.
Sometimes I have to ask people, do you hear a ringing? I get that ringing noise.
Yeah, every now and again. Like, I was just getting it now, actually, as a matter of fact. Which, again, from reading, is another side effect of Lamictal.
I'm not getting a ringing in my ears lately, but like I'll definitely just be like walking and just sitting there and just I can tell that there's supposed to be more sound coming through this way
Right.
than the left ear. I know they're supposed to be equal, but I'm like, why the I know there's some
Nope.
other
No,
sounds
it's also me in
coming
my
in.
left ear. No, it's me too.
And it's just
I
like,
can't.
why the fuck can I not hear, like, why can I not fully hear like subtle background noises with this ear? And then it like goes away and then comes back. It goes away, but it literally will come out of like I'm just sitting there and it's like, my fucking ears pop. Like, am I going on a plane? Why can I not hear like
Hey, new guy.
way?
What do you take?
I take Lamictal.
Lamictal?
Lamotrigine, yeah.
No, I was talking to. I take the same thing as you. I take 200 milligrams twice daily. I'm talking to the new guy.
Oh, is a new guy here? Okay.
Canned tuna.
Canned tuna?
I've gotten issues with that before. Never thought. I'm
I'm
on
on
a
a
bus
bus.
and it's loud. Okay, I
Oh, okay.
understand. Take Kepra, only 1 gram. That's
Is anybody on multiple medicines, or or everybody's on single right now?
Yeah, I'm on like 3 in the morning and 4 for a night.
I'm only
you-
on Lamictal.
Yeah, I'm only on Lamictal myself right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I hear about a lot of people who are taking like 1,500 milligrams of Kepra, 500 milligrams of Lamictal. I was just like, that's a lot. Like, but I don't know. There's situations. Everyone's situations vary. But
3 in a
that's,
VNS.
yeah, the VNS or the ENS, you'd say?
3 in a VNS.
Western medicine is the cause and solution to all of life's problems.
Yeah. Most people are on multiple. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anybody's doctors talked to them about the potential for too much medicine actually worsening things?
Um,
Did I say that
no.
again?
Like, if you're on too much medicine, could it like make things worse for you as opposed to helping?
Like,
Oh.
side effects wise. Yeah. She didn't like talk about it, but I feel like that's why my neurologist was okay with me lowering the dosage for my lamotrigine, because I'm tired all the time. I'm just like fucking tired. I can't keep being tired all the time. I gotta lower dosage on one of these meds.
Yeah, I'm tired too a lot.
Yeah, like the
feel that.
fatigue problem, it gets me a lot. Like sometimes it's just hard to get out of bed. Sometimes it's just I want to lay in bed, but I want to do everything else. But yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes I gotta.
I
mine is
do
too.
get the
Sleeping.
feeling that they always want to up the dosage, and it's really difficult for them to lower it. But I've been seizure free for 6 years, and it was really, really
Yay.
difficult for them to
Yeah,
lower it.
congrats for
I'm like,
that.
come on, lower it now. It's
Yeah.
time. Lower it. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm like still like paranoid. Like nothing's happened. Like I mean, I had like a panic attack since they lowered the dosage of the lamotrigine, but I'd rather have that than seizure. But I don't know, that's still get paranoid with it. But
I feel like it's all correlated too, though.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, um, the medicine to try to help with the seizure, and then also, having panic attacks. I've never had panic attacks before. I've been having panic attacks the past 2 weeks because I just don't know what's wrong with me.
Well,
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the biggest, challenge for me. Is just I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, and
Yeah.
without
Sometimes I don't understand either. I don't understand the what's going on at all.
right.
dude, this is from like a fucking like YouTube like a comedy series. Like, so I don't know if you guys watch Dragon Ball Z at all.
No,
Any of
I
you,
never.
but there's like
I've heard of it. I've never watched it though.
there's a group of guys who did like a parody of it, and he was like, they've all died multiple times and have been brought back to life by the Dragon Balls, and he was like, worst part about dying is you never. Sometimes I'll wake up and I don't know if I'm actually dreaming, like waking up, or am I dead?
Right. Right.
It's the same thing. It's like, I don't know if I had a fucking seizure, if I just spaced out.
Right.
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, like the space out ones. Sometimes those aren't the worst, but sometimes I hate the focal missing stuff. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like the time I was like pouring some juice or whatever and had a focal, and like when I came to, I told this story before. When I came to, the cup was just overflowing, and by that point, all I remembered was I wanted juice. I don't remember getting to the kitchen to even start pouring juice. But having a focal in the middle of doing something is
Yeah.
crazy.
I was thankfully nothing has happened while well, no, never mind. Well, yeah, I'm gonna retract that. Something did happen when I was because of the crash, but I haven't done anything to other people, because that's like always my biggest fear, because you have no control over what you're doing in that time frame, and that's what scares me a lot. But there was one time, I find it funny now, and you can laugh, but like my mom
we
was
got
like,
those funny ones.
huh?
We all got those funny ones.
Yeah, because I was like in the kitchens. It was like after the crash when I was like first starting to like kind of use the walker to walk, and my mom was like, "Oh, hey, can you hand me that knife to grab it?" And I just like picked one up, and I was just like, looked at you. She was like, "No, not that one." And I just like kept looking at it, and I like just like put it back in, and then just went to the fucking bedroom, and I just like fucking not zoomed, but like walked to the bedroom, and then just fell asleep for like 2 or 3 hours. They were like, "Hey, do you want some food?" "Oh no, I'm good." They were like, "Do you remember what happened?" "No." They're like,
My funniest
"Pretty
story
sure you had a
is
seizure." I'm like, "Oh fuck." Okay. It will up the dosage.
My funniest story would be the time I was at church. Got baptized a few days before, so I was there to do my speech. I don't remember going up there. I remember it's supposed to be that day. That's what I remember. And from what I'm being told is I had a seizure and there's like a long bar, so no one seen me when I fell. They're like, "Where'd he go?" And I guess they said I stood up, and then I was like, "Thank you guys. You guys have a good day." And I dropped the mic and then I walked off. I don't remember any of that. I remember getting back to my seat. Then my family was like, "You had a seizure." Then I was like, "What?" Man,
I'm surprisingly coherent after I've had one, apparently. I'm able to tell people that I had one.
Yeah,
I was able to tell the cop or whoever the fire department was that like helped help me after the crash, and they were like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I just had a seizure." Evidently, I told that to them.
you know, when I crashed my
Coherent,
car,
apparently.
uh, when I crashed my car back in 2021, it was interesting because you know, obviously someone called 911 and police showed up and the fire department and the EMT. Uh, you know, the cops were trying to say that I was drunk, right? They were
That's
like,
the part that fucking scares me.
they
Sorry, go
were
ahead.
they were they were like they kind of broke into the car, and I remember waking up and I was sitting I was in the driver's seat, and like I was very tense, right? So I know that something had just happened, and this fucking cop was being a complete asshole. It's like, look at this guy. He's fucking. So the EMT comes over and he goes to the cop. He goes, "Are you a moron?" He goes, "You see what's on that guy's wrist? He's got epilepsy. He had a seizure while he was driving his car." And they took me out of the car, and you know, and the right people were able to take care of me. But yeah, the assumption right away was that this guy is probably. Meanwhile, it was 11 o'clock in the morning. It's like, you know, I wasn't
Yeah,
driving at night, like, you know, coming home from somewhere. So, but
dude,
yeah,
that's something that fucking scares me. It's they don't
wow.
they'll oh, what are you
You
doing, or
said
they won't
the
know
police
what's
Narcan
going
them
on,
twice.
and they'll
well,
just
yeah, I see that. Yeah,
aggravate it.
they Narcan. I saw the canned
Yeah.
tuna. Yeah. Do you guys have that? Like, do you guys have that ready? Narcan?
No, I have something that's like Narcan. It's called Nasalium,
Okay.
and I never took it, but I was told by someone when I was at the Social Security office with someone else who has epilepsy. He said that works to put him asleep after a seizure. Um, I never thought of putting myself to sleep to like not have a seizure, but I guess in the hospital when I come back, I just kind of go to sleep. But I never thought to take that thing at my nose and just go to sleep. Yeah. One time I left the emergency room. It's about the worst situation. Well, medically, I guess. Let's see. I was reading something else. Some guy said he got a felony for felony assault for biting a nurse. Um, so now he's fighting a felony case that he had during a seizure. I was like, wow, it's interesting.
I can't see how that. I can't see how that's gonna hold any water.
Right. Someone said, oh, he said he doesn't think it's going to hold up in court because I think he said he had came back to for like a few minutes or whatever, so they thought he was all good, and I guess he doesn't remember after the biting started and stopped and all that. Um,
I'm gonna book.
huh? What's the biggest misconception a person has about epilepsy? I'm not sure if I read that already.
I think it's the convulsion and peen one.
Yeah.
I feel like my diet's not the greatest, and then I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta go to the bathroom like all the goddamn time. Just shit.
I don't think people understand that there's different levels of epilepsy and different
Yeah.
I go with that. Yeah.
different types as opposed to, just what they see on TV. You know.
I mean, even like there's still shit that I'm learning about with like different types. Like I know there's like focal seizures. I obviously found that out. And then there's full on like tonic-clonics. There's like myoclonics or whatever. Like there's grand mal, petite mals,
Yeah, I was gonna say petite mal I've heard of recently.
auras, and just the fact that seizures show up on an EEG when I was like completely awake. That took me so long to get my head around. And I still don't get it, and it still makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, what
Right.
the fuck? No. I don't want to think about that.
I keep seeing people talking about when they get a seizure, they get the impending doom. Anybody got that? I never went through that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yes.
I'll
I'm so
feel
sorry.
no, it's okay.
That is
Suck, dog.
exactly how I get every single seizure. I thought I was having panic attacks until my doctor told me that they're auras I've been having. And I never understood how to deal with them, but it would just come on randomly where I just didn't know what was going on. It just felt like I was about to I don't know, my life was just going to end. And then I would just space out for a while. My heart would go crazy. My ears would be ringing. And then they would just settle down after like a minute or two.
Yeah, that's sort of what that's one of the things I when I know it's coming on is that I get like this sudden level of anxiousness. And then at that point is when I start seeing like, all of the words are jumbled if I'm watching TV. If I'm talking to somebody, it makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
I can't get the words out myself. I'm fully aware of what's going on. Like if I was like I'm watching the Met game right now. Like if I was to have one now, I wouldn't be able to speak to you guys, we would understand, but I would know I'm watching the Met game.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very bizarre. But before that, I would get that feeling in the pit of my stomach, that anxiety. And then I would know right away it would come. So yeah, I'm familiar with that.
I always hear about the impending doom, but I never get that. I guess I get a weird vibe that something might be coming on, but never thought of it as an impending doom.
Yeah.
Well, I guess yeah, you might think something's bad gonna happen. I get those where I think it's like a precursor sometimes. I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling good. This is telling me I need to go sit down. That's what this vibe
Yeah.
means.
I've had that where it's like, okay, I don't think I'm having one, but I think I need to go sit down.
Right.
I've had anxiety attacks like a couple times. Like I thought this last one I had, like I thought I'd had one recently, like a few weeks ago. I was like, fuck, I don't remember. I kind of like blacked out a little bit, but then my wife said I was like grabbing my chest. She thought I was having a heart attack, and I was like, oh, okay, then yeah, it was just a panic attack. Okay. I can live with that. I can deal with a panic attack.
Yeah. What's the
Seizure,
difference between a
not.
panic attack and an anxiety attack?
Huh?
What's the difference between a panic attack and anxiety attack?
I don't know.
I think they're pretty much the same. I think they're just different ways of calling it.
I think like a panic attack, it's like, I don't know, from what I've read, it's like it mimics the symptoms of like an actual heart attack, whereas anxiety attack, like it's kind of the same thing, but I think like panic attack mimics the symptoms of like can mimic the symptoms of a heart attack, because I had one in college too, and like I had to get this girl I was seeing at the time take me to the hospital. She was chill though.
Um, has anyone's neurologist ever told them to avoid weed?
Um,
That was actually a good question. I was gonna
No.
ask everybody here. Do you guys smoke weed?
I get too fucking paranoid now.
Oh, do
I
you
can't.
really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it also depends on like the strand that you get too. I've been having nothing but sleeping issues for like a couple of years now.
Hmm.
Pretty much since I moved out of the house when I got divorced. So I mean, a lot of times they don't want to give you sleeping medicine to go along with what you're taking, right? Because they could interact with each other. Um, Both my epilepsy doctor and my neurologist are all about it. They're like, smoke a joint, take a couple of hits, see how that
I mean,
makes you
I
feel.
kind of
Yeah.
attribute the fact that I've smoked weed for the last like 8 years why I have had seizures till 24. I feel like that's helped me more than it's hurt me.
How long you been taking the meds that you're on now?
I stopped taking them a while ago. I didn't like how they were making me feel, and they just wanted to up them. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna start you low, like a gram." That's like the lowest we start people out with. We'll increase it since you're still having seizures. I just looked into like what people said about taking Keppra for a while and like what it does to them over the years. And it kind of made me scared. They're talking about like vitamin deficiencies and just memory issues and stuff they were having, and it scared me. And so I stopped taking it, and I've just been working on really being healthy, like stop vaping, stop ingesting nicotine, like stop drinking. I eat super healthy now, and I don't drink water and stuff. And I haven't had a seizure for the longest time without taking my medication, so I'm hoping it's helping me. But they don't know why
I
I'm
was
having
gonna,
seizures.
yeah, I see you were on the bus or the train, so there was no reason to ask, do you take public transit? But have you ever had
Yeah.
a seizure on public transit?
No, no. I mean, I crashed my car, and that's the only time like people in public have really seen me having a seizure. Apparently, there are like 8 people all
Names.
watching me seize out in my car. But the crazy thing is, I remember the car crash. Like I remember thinking in the moment, this is a dream. This isn't actually happening. And I woke up in the hospital, had family all around me. Like, yeah, you had a car crash. Or you totaled a seizure and totaled your car. So that was interesting. And then
Yeah,
I've
no, you're
had
not the
weird
only
ones
one
where
who
like,
crashed the car. You got a
yeah, I heard other people
few of
talking
us in
about
this
it.
group and a few of us in that thread.
Yeah.
I remember getting
But
ready to go
then
over to my mom's house to do yard work when it happened, and then I don't remember anything after. And walking the next thing I know, I'm in the hospital. It's been like 3 or 4 days, and I'm
yeah.
still really not sure of what's going on. My body's just trying to like cut out any non-essential functions to like keep me alive.
Has anybody's
Yeah,
doctors tried to get them onto the ketogenic diet?
my
Um,
dad's trying to get me on a ketogenic diet, but protein's the thing that like my taste buds has been affected after my last seizure. Like food just doesn't taste right, and I can't eat meat. I've gone completely vegetarian because to me
Yeah.
it's just disgusting. Now it's been like this for like a month.
Okay.
I've varied my diet over the years. Had to perfect it. You know, I actually do I eat a lot of vegan stuff, but that's like heavy cruciferous stuff. And
Vegan vegan stuff can be pretty
yeah,
tasty, honestly. I've had
yeah.
um a buddy got like a vegan buffalo chicken pizza, and I'm like, dude, this tastes exactly like a fucking buffalo chicken pizza.
I try to just avoid carbs. A lot of like sugar stuff. That's just the bottom line. I can't eat
Yeah.
like, but I still do eat it.
Yeah.
I mean, once in a while is good. I mean, I just, looking at all different avenues at this point, different things to try. I mean, like, the ketogenic diet, I mean, I do like the food that you can have. It's just very, very strict though, right? So it's like,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
You ever
I mean,
heard
the
of that
interesting thing I
epilepsy
read,
pillow?
say it again?
You ever heard of the epilepsy pillow?
No.
It's $80. It's for nocturnal seizures.
Huh.
I mean, I don't need it, but it's a lot for a pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got sleep. Pretty sure I've got sleep apnea. So I gotta
You
get
guys
that
ever
sorted.
considered the surgery?
Huh?
You ever considered the surgery?
Um,
I told myself I'm
no.
not getting any more surgeries.
I'm only just kind of now realizing, like, okay, I think I got to do something about it. I gotta set an appointment with my doctor, but probably my wife, like, I woke up and she woke me up because I was like gasping for air. I was like, "What?" Like, Eamon, you're not breathing. I was like, "Oh no, I'm fine. Oh, let me just go back to sleep." I'm like, no, Eamon, you're doing it again. Like, oh, okay. Oh, 1 minute.
You ever been sitting next to someone and they keep asking, "Are you okay?" Like they seen something that you didn't see.
Yeah, but that was when I was having the focals and not aware of it. Like, I was driving in the I was driving and apparently I just like kind of stopped in the middle of the road. Thankfully, it was there was really nothing going on that day in the town, but I was like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. What? Why are you asking?" And then there was another one. We were visiting her family in Rhode Island. I wasn't driving; she was. We were going to get like a go to like a Dunkin', and then she like started asking me like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, I didn't realize I'd been doing something. I'm like, "Yeah, why do you keep asking me that?" Um, but yeah, I didn't realize until the crash what a focal seizure was, and I've been thinking about that after that, and I was like, dude, I was having these for fucking years, and my like neurologist didn't diagnose it.
Yeah, I was having focals and I've been having focals for like the past 10 years and I just didn't understand what it was. So I didn't even know it was a seizure. I just thought maybe I just blanked out for a second. And then I told my no, before I told my doctor, I found out in one of the subs that focal seizures are actually a thing. And then once I figured out that, I was like, they're starting to explain the what's it called? The stuff that happens or whatever. And I was like, oh, I've been going through that. And they're like, oh, that's a seizure you've been going through. And then they explain the clammy feeling and the myoclonic and all that. Sometimes you just get a real clammy feeling, a bad vibe. Like, yeah, appetite goes away and everything. So yeah, once I knew that, I called my doctor and he was like, yeah, you should have told me this. And I was just like, I've been going through this for like 10 years, bruh. And I didn't know what was going on to tell you something was wrong. And yeah, he's like, we could have did something to your dose or whatever. And now I'm gonna see him tomorrow, and he retires in 4 days. So
like,
I've been dealing
we
with
gotta
him for
cram
20
this
years.
in real quick, man. We gotta
Right.
cram it in.
Dealing with this man for 20 years, and yeah, gonna change.
Damn. I hope that replacement's good.
All right, man. Well, good luck with your appointment, and good luck with the EEG that you're having, because I got to go now. And everyone, good luck with everything. So,
Deuces, Kevin.
all
See you
right,
Friday.
Get to chat with you again.
Hope to see you
good
again,
chat
Kev.
with it. All right, take it easy, everyone.
All right, guys.